I'm going to say something actors aren't going to like, and it's just my opinion. Your amount of followers you have does not matter. What matters is brand authenticity. Be authentic to your own personal brand. Don't try to do things just to raise your follower count. It's not worth it.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey everyone, welcome back to Get Scene Unscripted. If you have not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are about to bring you an awesome episode today. We're bringing in a talent agent, everyone. And by the way, as you're watching, if you feel so inclined to leave us a review, or if you're on YouTube, comment. We cannot wait to hear from you. It really does mean so much to read all of your comments and know that this podcast is impacting your journey in a positive way. So thank you so much for being here. Let's dive in. We have Atlanta Models and Talent SAG commercial agent Kayla Cordwell. What's up?
Hi, Jesse. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
I am glad that you're here. I'm really excited to connect with you more. Obviously, we've been working together for many years, but I feel like I haven't gotten to connect with you. With never being in the office anymore. It's hard to connect beyond the emails sometimes.
Yeah. I find that with a lot of my clients, I'm like, I'll meet them out at some random place, like a party or whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, Kayla, I feel like, I never see you. I'm like, guys, I see you every day.
Right.
I see your headshots every single day. So, I feel like I've got semi-connection. But then when I'm actually able to sit down and talk with people, it's so much better. That is actually one thing I do miss about being in the office.
Right.
Is that, while we didn't always love if a bunch of clients came in at once during the day, because sometimes it would on a busy day, it would interrupt the flow of work a little bit. But we did love having clients stop by every once in a while just to say hi, to bring us goodies, sometimes.
Right. I feel like your Buckhead office was pretty perfect for that. It was central.
It was very central. It was very chill. They allowed pets in the building. So Jason always had Zach Morris in the house.
Nice.
Our new office, I love our new office. It's it's a nice building. It's got a great cafe. We eat there at lunch, anytime we're in the office. But they are a proper office building. Oh. They're a little strict. They don't allow dogs. But I will say, I might have snuck my dog in there one time.
Nice.
Right after I got her. She was a wee baby. And
emotional support, right?
Well, I didn't want to leave her at home.
Of course.
I didn't want to leave her at home when she'd never been left home before. It was literally 2 days after I got her.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a baby. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna leave you at home. So that was the only time she went to the office. But that was before we were told no dogs. So building management, you cannot get me in trouble for that.
How is there anything that, I guess, as an AMT team that you guys think about doing in the sense of, because you're not seeing the talent in person as much anymore, that it's we should try to do this? Or is that something that's come up? I don't know if if it's doing an event or are you guys it's just really not necessary, because I think actors are how can I get in front of my agent?
Yeah.
How can I hang out with them? Can I take you to coffee? There's all these things that they're thinking about, but maybe it's just completely not necessary either.
I would say we love actors who will just update us every once in a while. It's hey, I've taken these 3 classes. I've learned this new skill. I've updated my materials. You can take a look at my pages. And, we would love to get coffee with everybody. But if we were getting coffee with everybody all day, we would not be getting any work done. No. And, as much as we would love that in-person connection, we'll see you when we see you. And that's great. It's nice to see you when we see you. It's nice to be able to, provide all of our time to working on getting our talents good projects, you know, making sure their money's coming in correctly, making sure that the right people know them. So honestly, like the less we see of you, sometimes it really is better because we get the chance to work for you that much harder. So if we're answering like talent emails all day, we're not able to answer casting emails all day. But when we get that nice little like quarterly update of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's some new materials for you to work with. Thanks for all you do, you know, bye. It's what we really enjoy because we get to see like what you guys have been doing without, you know, having to take time out of getting you new opportunities.
Yeah, and you mentioned like doing, you know, a quarterly update or something that might come with some new materials. Is that something that you're going to get really like excited about? Like, oh, Jesse just brought in this new headshot? Or is that something that you want me to talk to you about first? Like, hey, like, is there a commercial shot that you need? Or you prefer an actor that's just going to like do it? Or
every actor is different. Honestly, there are some actors who need a little more guidance in a materials sense. So we have plenty of people who will come to us and say like, hey, I'm getting new headshots. You know, who do you recommend? Do you like my photographer I'm already using? You know, do you want me to use someone new? Is there anything that you need? And usually if there's something that we like urgently need, we will send a quick email like, hey, I need you to get this shot. Or, hey, I need you to consolidate all of your police officer footage into one reel that I can shoot off to casting real quick for this new movie. But yeah, we really, you know, we're here if our talent need, you know, a little bit of guidance on headshots. But honestly, I really do love, and I love looking at headshots. I love being really super picky. I'm the person who, you know, the rest of the team's like, send us your like top 3 looks, your like top 3 looks of each look. And I'm like, no, give me the full photographer.
Are you like looking at all of it?
Oh yeah,
Really?
I will scrub through 1,000 headshots.
Oh my gosh.
Because sometimes actors are usually pretty good about picking good headshots. But sometimes they leave the great ones behind. And it's because there's something in it that they don't see that maybe we see. You know, because we're the ones looking at different headshots all day, and we're the ones looking at all of like the casting briefs and like the marketing decks and everything. So sometimes it's just a different point of view. Actors can sometimes say like, oh, I look really good in that. But sometimes it's not about looking really good in the headshot. Sometimes it's about this is going to fit so many different casting briefs. And sometimes it's just the turn of the head or how far your eyelids are lowered or lifted. And it can be really precise. And if you're not in the business of looking at that every single day, sometimes you may not know that. So I'll scrub through their favorites. But then I'm like, no, I want to see the full shoot. And you can really find some hidden gems in there sometimes. But honestly, sometimes it's great. You know, if we have a really busy week, someone's like, hey, I got new headshots. I uploaded all of the pertinent ones to Actors Access. Here you go. And we're like, oh, thank you. Sometimes they don't even tell us and it just pops up on Actors Access when I'm submitting.
Just like, surprise.
And I was like, oh, new headshots. Great. Oh, you changed your hair color. Cool.
I love that. I love that both work. Mm-hmm. Is there, you know, I think it's so interesting, kind of the preciseness that you were talking about within a headshot. Is there anything that you think, I know it's like without us like looking and then kind of describing it, but, or like breaking down a headshot if we had one here, but is there, do you think you can describe a little bit of what you're talking about in the sense of like, it's better when it's straight on, or it's better if you're angled with your head turned, or it's a bigger smile as opposed, or a teeth smile, or, you know, is there specific things we can talk about?
Yeah. So for me, I always look at what the actor's wearing, how it's moving within the photo session, how their hair is moving, their face shape. You know, sometimes you can't say like, okay, you always need to be a more straight on squared shot, or you need to be in that like sort of half profile turn. It really is about everything that you've already brought to the table with your clothing choices, with your makeup choices, with your hair choices, with your character choices. Sometimes just the positioning, even if the outfit's the same, the positioning can change the character a little.
Yeah.
So totally. You can go from like, really straight, really stiff, hard ass detective. And with that same outfit, you just turn a little, you smile a little more, you have maybe, your arms crossed, and suddenly you're like power realtor.
Yeah.
And so it's the tiniest things. And that's why we always tell our actors, treat your headshot sessions like they are acting exercises. Come up with a character, a brief backstory if you want to get that deep, but you really need to treat your headshots not just like, okay, I'm going to get my dramatic, blue steel headshot. I'm going to get my comedic rooms to go, bright, happy, smile headshot. It really is about all of the characters that you can play and the roles that you can play, the roles you want to play. And sometimes I say, don't be afraid to get a little extreme with it. We have people who put on like full on like outfits, not just like they're popping on some clothes. They like do outfits. And it really, especially in the commercial and advertising world, I really love when people get a little more funky when they're with their clothes. Yeah. Lean into your style, because that is, your style is you. It's authentic. So when, for a television and film shoot, you might want to fill a couple of different roles that are always on the breakdowns, and roles that, you can use one outfit for, and it'd be diverse for a couple different types of roles, depending on the acting you're doing in your session. For commercials, it really is, and I've been seeing it more and more, success with looks. Like you have your like authentic style. And if you bring that into your session, if you're going to lean towards more of a commercial session, then you can really have something special. You can really lean into trends. You can lean into what, brands are looking for right now. And that's why I always say, when you do, leading from headshots to actual auditions, when you're doing a commercial audition, brand research is the number one thing. You go into a television or film audition, you're going to research the director. If you've got the director, for the television episode, you're going to research what the project already looks like. You're going to research, what the showrunners, the kinds of shows that they're doing, the genre, whatever. With commercials and with advertising, it is all about the brand. You want to see what the brand's doing right now. You want to look into emerging trends, and you want to be able to deliver that. So having headshots that can deliver current trends is also really important. The commercial headshot's not just one smiley shot anymore. Right. It can be as diverse as your television and film headshots.
I love that. And that's pretty recent, right?
Oh yeah. So I don't think we necessarily brought headshots, character headshots to the Southeast market. I like to think that we did, because
I think we did.
Before that, I wasn't really seeing it. I was seeing everyone, I looked through Actors Access, 7 years ago when I started, and everyone had sort of the, your standard dramatic and your standard commercial. And, maybe you had one or two more if you needed, something scrubby or something, super professional looking. But once we started really going gung-ho with telling people you need to have a diverse portfolio of looks so that we can plop it in to our submission, and then casting can plop it in to their submission to, the gatekeepers and, the decision makers, then they can, plop it right into their boards or their decks or whatever. And that is why character headshots are so successful, because it's almost like you don't even need to look at their reel, at first glance.
Yeah.
You can see, oh, they look convincing as a doctor. They look convincing as an executive. They look convincing as, you know, a low-life criminal or something like that, you know, like a thug or whatever. Or they, you know, they look like they can play the caring father, the hardworking mother, the dentist, you know, those kinds of things if you're looking more into marketing. You know, the happy, crunchy granola girl, that kind of thing, you know. So yeah, so character headshots pretty recent, but even more recent is my push for more of like commercial character headshots.
Right.
And that's something that Julie, my partner in non-union commercial work, that's something that we've really been pushing for is you do need to pay as much attention to those headshots as you do to your theatricals. Like I said, it's not just tack a couple of smiling shots into your session with whatever outfit you're wearing and call it a day. It really is, you know, the brands that you want to focus on. You know, if you want to go into something more upscale like fashion, you know, you can look at brands that are popular right now, like something more clean and quiet like The Row, or, you know, something a little more bombastic like Margiela. Or if you really want to look into, you know, makeup brands, you've got Glitz and Glam, Charlotte Tilbury, or you've got something really clean like Ilia. You know, if you want to go like the Home Depot, Lowe's, Carpentry route, you know, you can look more into what those trends are looking for right now. If you want to go something really super slick, like a Mercedes car, you know, those have their own trends and everything. So it's all about really studying trends, studying brand iconography, and being able to sit down and say, what brands do I want to represent and what brands are most authentic to me? And that's where you can start building your commercial portfolio as far as headshots and materials.
That's so awesome, man. And I love how much you just went into that. And you know, because I feel like some actors too might be listening and saying, oh, well, I went to a Q&A once where the casting director said that's not necessary. And my argument to that is always like, be empowered within your own career. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this is an opinion business, as we know, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's like, if you feel like, based on what you just said, right? I'm like, oh, like this makes sense. I believe that if I put some energy into my commercial headshots, that will get me more opportunities. If I get more opportunities, it gives me more chances to book the role, therefore more chances to make money at this. And so it's like, even though some casting directors at a Q&A may have said that's not necessary, I'm kind of like, I think they're being nice. I want to do the thing that is going to give me the best chance to win.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a small percentage, right? If it's going to give me 1% more auditions opportunities, or 5% or 10%, whatever it is, I'm like, based on what you just described, whether it be film or TV and now commercials, I'm like, I'm going to have to do it. I have to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, again, it is so opinion based. I have one casting director in my ear saying, I don't think commercial reels are necessary part of the anatomy of a good commercial portfolio. I have other people saying, no, I want to see your commercial reels. I want to see what you've done. And it's always been, you know, the age old question of like, well, my commercial reel has brands in it and brands are conflicts and I don't want to have any conflict showing. Okay. It shows that you've done high level work. You know, if you're afraid of your Coca-Cola spot that you did with XYZ famous person, if you're afraid that that is going to negate you from working on Pepsi, even though you don't have that conflict anymore, it was 2 years ago, the conflict's up, they're not using that spot anymore. That's not going to negate you from getting a new job necessarily. That's saying, hey, I worked a professional shoot with a high level recognized brand with celebrity talent, and I was good enough to survive the final cut of said shoot. So now you have that example of my work. It's just like, just because you're on an episode of NCIS doesn't mean that you're not going to be on an episode of Law and Order.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
It's not going to negate that. It's the casting directors aren't going to say, oh, well, you know, you were in this in a similar role, so I don't want to put you in my show in a similar role. No, that's not how it works. Brand conflicts only exist within the time frame of that run. So if they're not holding you on that conflict anymore, yeah, that can be in your commercial reel. I like commercial reels. I like to see that you've done things. I like to see the list of brands you've worked with. I love to see all of that. And especially if you have social media footage, because social media is so popular. If you get comfortable working with commercial content within the social media framing, that 16:9 framing, or 9:16, I always get it confused. I'm not a technical person. But if you get comfortable in that TikTok, Instagram, Reels sort of space, I find that you are able to be so much more successful commercially. Am I allowed to name drop here?
Sure.
Awesome. A client of mine, Gabrielle Benloss, if you're in the Atlanta acting community, you know her. She's all over social media. She has built from the ground up an amazing social media brand. So much so, she teaches classes on it now. Go check her out. Because she has worked so successfully doing her own content in that TikTok, Instagram Reels style, she was recently directly asked, and also because she had worked with the production team in the ad agency before on a different shoot, she was directly asked to do a really stellar Neutrogena Halloween social exclusive spot. And it was fantastic. The set was super cool. She was in different costumes and makeup. She worked with an amazing hair and makeup team. And it was direct work because she is so good at using this new emerging platform of social media. You know, it's not anymore for your advertising and marketing side of your career. It's not anymore just have tear sheets from magazine spots you've been in. It's not anymore to just have that commercial reel. You need to be able to show that you can work within the new trends. You can work within a social media space. You can work within vertical short form content spaces, which aren't just on social media. They're now emerging into more episodic looking structures. So yeah, it's, like I said, coming back to it, everyone has an opinion, but honestly, as long as you're able to conquer these new spaces and become very comfortable with them, you're able to do so much more for your career. So if you have a commercial reel that you want to update it. Show those brands that you can work with brands of their caliber. All you have to say is, hey, I don't have any conflicts currently.
Right.
Or, hey, I have a conflict in the finance category, but you're asking for a car commercial, so that is completely fine.
I love that you brought up social media because I think a lot of actors also bring it up, but I think they're thinking about it kind of on like a different side of things of like, oh, I need to get like more followers.
Yeah.
But this is more, so I just want to get like clear. So you think for an actor, it could be smart to utilize social media as more almost like as a practice playground of like, I'm used to shooting stuff like this, and maybe even a way to show off your creativity. I mean, I think you really you can talk about whatever you want on social media. It doesn't even have to be acting related.
Yeah.
It's just more about understanding that framing and getting that experience. Am I right?
Yeah. So I'm going to say something actors aren't going to like, and it's just my opinion. Your amount of followers you have does not matter. What matters is brand authenticity. Be authentic to your own personal brand. Don't try to do things just to raise your follower count. It's not worth it because people will follow you one day, and the second you do something they don't like, they'll unfollow you in a second. Follower counts don't matter. And to be quite honest, I think any productions theatrically that base their casting choices on follower counts, I don't think that's good necessarily, because influencers can be super famous and just be absolute shit actors. And sometimes actors who barely have a social media presence are some of the best actors that we have. So Theatrically, your follower count doesn't mean anything. Now, sliding over into my wheelhouse, commercials and advertising, it can mean something, but people can buy followers, you know?
Right.
I mean, we get, I run AMT's social media account, and we get in DMs every day from rando accounts being like, hey, buy 10,000 followers, buy 5 million followers, up your follower count. And I'm like, but that's not authentic. So
you also like know from like like if you have, you know, 500,000 followers and we go look at a post and you have 27 comments.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like you can figure it out so easily.
Followers can be bought. All kinds of things can be bought. What matters, again, is your brand authenticity. And you will have a core, strong group of followers if you're authentic to your brand. People may come and go, you know. Accounts will be put up and taken down that follow you. But your core group, that is what really matters. Those would be your consistent commenters, your consistent likers, your consistent sharers. So if you're wanting to do social media as an actor, don't think about it as a rise to fame. Think about it as an extension of your portfolio. You see on my reel what I can do when I'm paid to do it. You can see from my headshots the artistic choices I can make. Now, with social media, here's an authentic view of myself. Here is me. And yeah, you can do your own content creation. I think people who utilize social media for content creation are so smart because they're engaging with the space, they're engaging with people, they're building their brand. But you don't have just to do like scripted content creation. You can also just share things about yourself, you know, share your life. I always, you know what I really love? I love seeing like a get ready with me. This is what I do in a day. That's personally the kind of content I like to see. Because I like to see, you know, how other people live their lives, how other people are going about their days, what people are doing. I'm an incredibly nosy person. I want to hear the tea. Even if the tea is, I went to Pilates and then I got a really good salad for lunch. Like, that's fantastic. Tell me all about it. Tell me the restaurant. I'm going to look up the menu. Do I live in that city? No, I don't, but I would love to know. That's
got to be a girl thing. I think Candy's been like,
it can be.
You see that window open? I can, you know, like the curtains or whatever. She's like, I can see in their living room. I'm like, who cares? Why are you looking in their living room?
And now
she's like, I want to see like what their furniture is.
Exactly.
And I'm
because
like,
what she's gonna do is she's gonna take out Google Lens and she's gonna look and she'll be like, oh, they did get the Restoration Hardware couch. I love this. I love seeing things like that. And it's a brand, you know? And I'm sure, you know, if we want to go across gender divides or whatever, there are things that are, you know, maybe more traditional, like guy things that they like to see on social media. I'm going to get really stereotypical. You know, guys like to see other guys' video game setups. There are plenty of women that also like to see people's video game setups. But, you know, that's a more like traditionally man thing. Or, hey, look at all these specs on my car, you know? That it's stereotypical, but, you know, there is a grain of truth within it, you know, with general masses and everything. But, you know, that is what your content can be on social media. It can be as mundane as, this is what I made for dinner tonight, and I'm going to take you through this recipe. You know, people just like to see authenticity. And that's what it comes back to, authenticity.
Hey, are you a parent of a young actor? Then you're going to want to pay attention to this because Get Scene Studios has what we call our Rising Star program. This program is incredible. It is a monthly program that puts you in front of an industry pro every single month and focuses on what a young actor needs to be focusing on, which is auditions. So every single month we focus on either theatrical auditions or commercial auditions so they can be set up for success when they get an agent or if they already have an agent to really succeed at these auditions and even begin to make money at this. So we bring in different industry pros every single month and agents and casting directors and then work on those auditions. So if this sounds like something that you would like to get your child or a friend that has a child involved in, all you need to do is email risingstar at getscenestudios.com, and we will let you try your first month for just $1 a class. That's right, only $1 a class. All you got to do is email us, and we will get you all set up and ready to go to improve those auditions and then also get in front of those industry pros, because we are Get Seen. Thanks for watching. So you do think that, because I think there's going to be so many people listening right now that are like, no, I hate social media. And personally, like recently I've been like going through a little bit, because it's been easy to be like, oh, I need to do it for Get Seen in the business. But I am about to really focus on my own personal brand. So it's interesting. I feel like that we're talking about this, because I've been looking at it like, you know what, this is like an additional stage that I can be on. Like whether you want to look at it as a performance or speaking or serving other people or whatever. But it's like, if you're an actor, like I'm assuming you want to be on stages, you want to be in front of the camera. And it's like, you have this incredible resource, and we have this thought process of like, it's gross, or it's annoying. But it's like literally falls into the category of like exactly what you signed up for and exactly what you want to do. So you do 100% agree that it's like all actors in some form, whether it's this is how I get ready, or this is something I'm passionate about, or coming up with their own skits, like you do believe that like this is something that's going to help them, serve them. They should be focused on this.
I think you can choose what form of social media you want to put yourself out on and what you want to engage with. Some actors really want to keep their personal life personal, and maybe they do want to show just surface level things. Other actors like to get really into the nitty gritty of everything personal, and we're going to talk about our feelings, and we're going to share and do these long conversations. Those are important too. Everything that you can do on social media, you know, as long as it is not putting other people down, because that's gross, you know, it can be really important. And if you do nothing but like try to make your own sketches on social media and you never post them, at least you're learning the medium. If you really want to be someone who does a lot of brand work, commercial work, then maybe focusing towards showing off the brands that you authentically use in your personal life, you know, that is something you can do. If you want to go the more personal route, maybe you start a podcast, and you start something like that. But it really is taking a platform and engaging it with it authentically. Like I said, for some people, that is the shallow outfit of the day. You know, I'm turning into a fashion blog. For other people, that is, let me tell you what I like to do in my free time because I really love some sort of outreach. I work with these nonprofits. Here's different ways you can support XYZ charitable fund. Sometimes it is, hey, I really enjoy making my own content. Here's my scripted content that I'm giving you. You can engage with it in so many different ways. And then some actors are like, I don't want to engage with social media at all. And I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to. You might want to have a social media account so you can, you know, just post like, hey, I booked this episode and it's shooting, or, you know, it's airing tonight. Or, hey, I'm on set, blah, blah, blah. It can be as simple as that, you know, if you don't really want to delve into it. It can be as simple as just sharing your wins.
I love that. I'd love to know briefly, you know, because I remember back in the day when Sarah Carpenter, who owns AMT, was running the commercial department, and she was so incredible, so just energized. I mean, she still is, but I'd love to know, kind of being mentored by Sarah, some awesome things that you learned from her.
Sarah Carpenter, if she is one thing, she is a fighter.
Yeah.
For her people. Madison, my coworker in the theatrical department, calls her Mama Bear. And that is very true. So that is probably the biggest lesson that I learned. I started out at AMT as an intern, fresh out of college.
Started from the bottom. Now we here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I was terrified of answering the phone. And I was the only intern. And I was expected to answer the phone. And there were a lot more phone calls back then because people just, we were in the office full time. So we could answer the phone. Now we get emails saying, hey, no one answered the phone at the office. And I'm like, well, you're emailing the right place right here. But no, I was terrified of answering the phone. And I was like, all right, Kayla, if there's one thing you've got to do, you've got to master talking to people on the phone. I'm a very reserved person. I like to stay in my little like separation between me and you of an email. And I can talk to you great on email. If I'm on the phone, sometimes I get tongue-tied.
And look at you. Now you're here in front of 3 cameras.
Yeah.
You're going crazy.
One of the first things Sarah Carpenter told me was, pick up the phone and call them. And I said, yes, ma'am. And I picked up the phone and I called people. That's great. But really, the most important lesson she taught me is twofold. One, education is everything, especially working within SAG-AFTRA as our actors union. Learning all of those rules, implementing all of those rules, and knowing when a rule is broken and saying, hey, this rule is broken, we need to fix it. Or, hey, this doesn't line up with the rules, let's talk about it. Being able to educate because, people in production, advertising agencies, usually they know the union rules pretty well. Sometimes they don't, and that's okay because that's not their primary job. That's my primary job, is to know all these rules to protect my actors. And that was one of the first things Sarah taught me. And the other big thing she taught me is you don't go down without a fight. You're not going to roll over and just say, okay. If someone is trying to renew, a spot for me and they're like, we can only give you like a 10% increase. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to give me double scale. And they're going to say, our ad agency will let us give you double scale. And I'm like, okay, then you're going to give me scale and a half. And they say, yes, ma'am. And I say, thank you. Because, I know what my actors are worth. And I know that, I'm always going to fight for the most money possible. Or if I can't get more money, then I'm going to lower the use and say, all right, then you can come back to us in 2 years and give us more money. Because that's what it's about. It's about fighting for your talent and making sure your talent are treated fairly and equitably and making sure that they are, being compensated for what they're worth. And Sarah Carpenter instilled that in me from day one. I used to hear my office in our first office that I worked at in Buckhead was right next to her office. Intimidating as as an associate and like her assistant, but I got to hear her on the phone with payroll saying, where is this money? On the phone with ad agency saying, absolutely not. That is not correct. You are going to do this, or I'm going to talk to the union. And, talking to actors saying, hey, heard you acted up on set. We're not going to do this again. I heard her fighting for her actors and also, giving them gentle reminders when necessary, like, hey, this is not how AMT presents himself. And so it was intimidating at first, but I think especially since AMT is made up not only in our agents, but also in our talent pool of so many strong women, that was really a guiding light for me. And really a good anchor that I was able to cling to in times of doubt.
That's awesome. I love that. Shout out, Sarah. Shout out, Sarah.
We love you, Sarah, even though you're not going to see this because you're not on social media.
Well, we can send her the link,
I will,
yeah.
yes.
So with this being year 2, I introduced a couple other like random kind of bits. And so you're going to get the actor dilemma.
Oh,
even
I love
though you're
this.
not an actor, but you're going to get the actor dilemma because you could be the agent talking to the actor right now. And this is the dilemma.
Okay.
The actor, congratulations, has booked a SAG national commercial.
Slay.
But then they have also booked what could be a recurring guest star on a television show.
Okay.
And they have a conflict.
Yeah.
What do they do?
Oh, my first question is, what platform is this television show airing on? Is it HBO? If it's HBO, I'm sorry, you're going to have to take HBO. No, I'm kidding. We usually go by, and this is the thing that I will say AMT prides themselves on being able to work with these situations. So what we usually do is we gather up all of the agents involved and are like, okay, who booked what first? How much money is this making? What's the brand for the commercial side? What's going on? What's going to elevate the actor's resume more? We try as much as possible to say, okay, what was booked first? Because you should honor the first booking. And that is why, as actors, and I'm looking directly at the actors right now, this is so important to constantly communicate with your agents when you get that avail check, that pin, or that first refusal. Tell your agents, if you're working on another project that may have those same dates, hey, I just got put on first refusal for Coca-Cola or Pepsi or whatever. I got put on first refusal for this. Or, hey, I see we're at the callback stage now. For this commercial, I just got an avail check, or I just got pinned for these dates for XYZ television show. Communicate with your agents, please, because we are usually able to work things out. I have had people, and this was actually with 2 commercial shoots, but I've had people be in LA for one day, fly back red eye the next day for their shoot in Atlanta, fly back to LA so they could do the rest of their shoot in LA. And it's worked out great. I've also had people who've had to make the tough decision to choose. And so what I usually say is, what booking came first? Because we usually do want to honor that booking. Now, if that booking is like, I'm a SAG extra on a Georgia Lottery commercial, that's great. That's fantastic. You're going to be on set. And, for new actors.
No shade to Georgia Lottery.
Yeah, no shade. No, Georgia Lottery pays my bills. We work on so many Georgia Lottery projects and we love them. But that is, money speaking, a lower paying job. It's also background. It's easily replaceable. I can find someone else on my roster who fits your specs to pop into the extra role. It's, again, it's background. Could you be, upgraded to a principal? Absolutely. You can always be upgraded to a principal, just like you can go from a co-star to a guest star, or a co-star to a recurring co-star, or a guest star to a recurring guest star, to a series regular. You never know. But looking realistically at things, if the commercial booking is a lot smaller, say it's like a background role, I can easily replace you. Go do your television and film booking. If this is a huge brand and it's going to be a national commercial, like you said, sometimes you've got to weigh that option. And we ultimately do leave it up to the talent. We will give all the advice we can with all of the information we have. But it is up to you to decide what you want to do for your career. Now, if it is something where you knew going into callbacks or whatever for whichever, the theatrical role or the commercial role, if you knew that you had dates and you were on avail for that other role, you need to go with the role that put you on avail first. If you knew that going in and you failed to disclose it, because we don't want to look sketchy to people. We don't want to look like we're backing out of things. Sometimes you can't help it. I've had actors who book, and when I send them the booking email, they're like, they just changed my dates for my show. I can't do this booking anymore. And casting's fine with that, because casting understands you're an actor. It's like, okay, we'll go to our second choice. That's fine. But, if you're like, oh yeah, I just forgot to tell them at the callback that I had these dates that were possibly, going to be confirmed. Well, no, that's on you. You can't do that. And so that's why you have to communicate with your agent, because we can communicate with people. And 9 times out of 10, we can work things out. Sometimes it's just like, hey, they need to shoot this on Tuesday instead of Monday because they'll be on set on Monday shooting this other thing. And a lot of times people are like, okay. Now, if it's a commercial that has only one shoot day, sometimes they're not like, okay. And sometimes, if you're choosing the theatrical role, they'll just pick their second choice. But, we're able to mitigate it most of the time, which is really nice for our actors.
Yeah. And that's so true. I actually remember, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like a stunt driving thing that I had, but I was filming on the same day, and Jason was able to work it out. But then they realized the shot of me like driving the truck was like at sunset. And so they were like, oh, we'll do it in the morning. And then, so like you guys did work it out, but then all of a sudden it was like, no, we have to shoot this at this 7 p.m. or whatever. And that's when I had to be on the other set. But, but hold on, you have to, you are absolutely right in this, all these variables. Oh, yeah. Really, really good points. But you're on the show and you have to choose.
I have to choose.
You have to choose one. Are you selfishly going to choose? Well, does it even make a difference on the AMT side? Like if let's say it was me and I'm like, I choose the commercial. Are you like, sweet, I get more money? Or like, it's not really how it works. I mean,
I'm always like, sweet, we're adding to our booking numbers.
Right. So are you like, no, I want to choose commercial because I'm getting the win? Or
I want to choose what's best for the actor. And that is why we will have very long discussions amongst ourselves of like, okay, what's the optics look like on each set? What's the probability that this guest star role is going to be recurring? What's the, how long is this commercial going to last? What's the brand conflict? Is it something that's important to this talent's portfolio? And that's what we're always looking at. What is going to be the best for their portfolio? Not necessarily their fame or their follower count, like I like to say, but what is going to be the best for their career long term? Is this a connection that they really need to make with this director, with this streaming platform, with this production company, with this brand? It really is all about what's best long term. And that is why we have so many long conversations about that amongst ourselves without the talent involved.
She refuses to answer.
I refuse to answer because it really is a variable thing. There is no one correct answer.
Really, I mean, you are absolutely right. I mean, and there really are so many variables, and for the actor, it's like, does the actor like really need money?
Yeah.
Like if you really need money, you should probably take the commercial because that's most likely going to pay you more, and then that can put you in like a better feeling financial situation.
I'm gonna look at the camera again. This is so selfish of me to say. But the commercial department and commercial acting will get you your health insurance.
Yep.
You want your health insurance so that you can continue to act. Because if you are sick and you have no health insurance and you have to pay all that money out, you cannot pay for self-tapes. You cannot pay for your acting classes. You cannot pay for your new headshots. No, I love our television and film department, and I love all of our television and film actors. But commercials, sometimes it is about the money. Sometimes it's about making a new connection. And that is why I can't give a straight answer. And, I mean, like, sometimes I'm like, just do the commercial. Come on, I want to book this spot. This is a cool spot. But, like I said, it's ultimately up to the actor. We will guide you as much as we can, but you're the CEO of your own career. So it's up to you.
I really do think you are 1,000% correct. There's just so many variables of, the brands, the networks, all of it.
Sometimes it also is just the money. Like, really, like, if it's like, oh, here's this, $20,000 print job that Julie's given you. And you're like so super right for it versus like, well, I'm going to be cop number 3 on Law and Order. Okay. If you're cop number 3, you might get cut. You do this print gig, you get $20,000. What do you want to do?
1,000,000%. Not even a question. Well, awesome, Kayla. Well, this is going to bring us now to our spotlight sign off, which is 5 questions to end strong.
Oh, bless. Okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
I feel like we really could keep this going. But question number 1 to start us off here is, what is something you're super grateful for today?
Today I am super grateful for this delicious cappuccino that you provided me, as my, silly little, surface level answer. But I'm also super grateful for my dog. I woke up to her just cuddling next to me, You know, when I came back from hopping in the shower this morning, she was curled up under the blanket and she just looked so cute. And then she just snuggled up right next to me. She's the person I talk to most. And yes, dogs are people. I am that person. But she's my baby. She's my best friend. She's my child. Yeah. You know? And so I'm just absolutely grateful for her. Her name is Nadine. She's a miniature poodle for anyone who wants to know. And if you do follow me on social media, then you will see her all the time. And she's incredibly silly. She's incredibly fun. She prances when she walks around. It's adorable. She prances like a show pony. It's the best thing ever. And I'm so grateful for her. Her birthday is coming up at the end of the month, November 29th. She's a Sagittarius. And she's turning 3.
Oh, wait, her birthday's on Black Friday?
It is.
Oh, my gosh. She must get all the presents.
Oh, she's so spoiled.
Yeah.
She's so spoiled. And I have no idea what I'm going to do for her birthday now because it's also right before Christmas.
Yeah. Just more presents.
She just has so many bones and treats, so many toys. Yeah. I think this year it might be sweaters because she has this one sweater that she really loves. She looks like that famous portrait of Ernest Hemingway where he's in that like big like fisherman sweater that like every soft boy hipster guy has in their apartment. But I have this photo of her posed with my brother. I think it was on Christmas morning or maybe on her birthday or something. I don't remember. But she's just sitting on her lap and they look like two old-timey people from like an old-timey portrait.
Really?
Yeah. And she looks like she's like looking off to her lover lost at sea. It's hilarious. She's a funny thing.
That's awesome. I feel like I want to do some sort of cool portrait style stuff with my dogs.
Oh, yeah. There's this one company where you can get like oil paintings done of your dogs and like they'll like take a picture of your dog and they'll like paint it into like a like old like British court.
Oh my
where
gosh,
of like lords and ladies and things. This one girl I follow online, she has them done of all of her guinea pigs. And I was like, Nadine is going to get one.
Yes, I love it. Question number 2, what is a book, television show, or film that changed the trajectory of your life?
Ooh. So I've always been a big reader. And so I've always loved, literature. I'm a huge cinephile. I went to film school. So, I went to film school because I was like, what do I like to do all day? Watch movies. Awesome. I was that kid that every DVD I bought had to be the one with the ultimate bonus feature package. So I would say, did you say music too?
I didn't,
film?
But
no?
if
Okay.
there was, I guess you could bring it in, though.
Not necessarily. Film, TV, book.
Or a book.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a film and I'm going to do a book series.
Okay.
So one film that I think really changed the trajectory of my life was the original Pirates of the Caribbean film, Curse of the Black Pearl. It is still one of the most stunning films I've ever seen. It is gorgeous.
It is really great.
And the DVD that I was given of that when I got it for Christmas as a kid had all the bonus features. And I sat and I listened to the director's commentary. I watched all of the behind the scenes, like sort of documentaries on it that were in every single bonus feature. I watched them over and over. I used to do this with a lot of movies, okay? I would watch the bonus features and the commentaries so much that I'd be able to quote them. And like the inside jokes that the actors had were like the funniest things to me. And I would make up my own dialogue with the commentary. Like I would comment on the commentary to myself. I was an odd child. But that really changed for me. It made me understand the world of filmmaking. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because that was the first movie I watched with bonus features, with all of like the cool stuff on them. And I was like, oh, filmmaking. This is something that this is a world I want to live in. For the longest time, I was like, oh, I want to be for a while I dabbled with, I want to be an actor. I think honestly, in this day and age, if I was to be an actor, I'd want to act on the stage because I love Broadway so much. Musical theater is my absolute jam. And
I should share with you my musicals playlist on Spotify. It's pretty fire.
That sounds amazing. I had one.
Oh, I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah, really I had one. I have not updated it in a while, and I need to curate it a little more. So it's kept private. But yeah, so I realized, acting wasn't going to be something that I was going to pursue long term. I went to school for film, for directing, because I wanted to be a director so I could direct all of the books that I read and turn them into adaptations. But then I realized I don't want to work the long hours on set. That is just not like my bandwidth is not there.
You work such long hours as an agent. I get emails from you every time of the day.
It is 7 days a week. Structured though.
Is it?
All right. Because I am
like
at home
24/7.
I am at home in my pajamas.
That's true.
I'm at home with a glass of wine.
All right.
Or a cup of coffee or a snack. I'm at home watching a movie while I'm emailing. I'm not on set. I'm not on my feet. I'm someone that does thrive on a little more structure. So that is when I interned at AMT, and then Sarah so graciously said, come aboard. That's where I really found my niche in the industry. But Pirates of the Caribbean, that was the one that did it. As for books, there is a book series. It is very popular on Book Talk, so it's going to sound like the least like niche take possible. I'm someone that's like, I'm not always like, I'm so different. I'm so cool. I'm reading all of these esoteric books and blah, 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 blah. I'm not like that. I may seem like that. I'm not like that. I will be the basic girl reading the books for the masses. So this is, as you say, the masses. The book series is Throne of Glass by the author Sarah J. Maas. All the book talk girlies know it. On the surface level, it is the story of a young assassin leaving prison and entering the service of the king who imprisoned her. That's just the surface level story. And a friend of mine in college was like, oh my gosh, I'm reading this new book. And it was when it wasn't as popular. I think after I started reading the series, it really exploded.
Because of you?
No, not at all.
No,
because I don't share things on social media. That's not my brand. But no, it really, I think I got in right before it super blew up because of TikTok. But a friend of mine in college was like, I'm reading this book series. This is really cool. I love fantasy literature. I'm a huge Tolkien nerd. I love all of that stuff. But the book series, like I said, on the surface, it's about a young assassin. But on a deeper level, it is about the female experience, what young women in different circumstances go through. And honestly, it was a source of great empowerment for me. The main character, while her life circumstances obviously so far removed from mine, there were so many things that I connected with in her, and her inner thoughts, her some of her more emotional, mental experiences, I really found a kinship with.
Wow.
And there's so many amazing quotes from the book. Some of them are more funny, some of them are more serious, but the quote that I cling to from the series is, "You do not yield." And that is something that has carried me through from my early 20s, and now as I'm approaching 30. That is something that I, that is like, those are my life words. You don't yield, you don't give in, you keep fighting. And so that book series, I've read it about 5 times now.
Wow, really?
I'm in the middle of a reread. Yeah. So it's an exciting book series. It's got a great cast of characters. Really cool. If you're into fantasy, the magic's pretty cool. The lore is pretty cool. You know, the world building. I love it.
I feel like they're going to have to make it into a show and people are going to
I have
lose their mind.
I have thoughts. It at one point was attached to Hulu.
Is it not anymore?
They're kind of in like a dark ages right now with it. It's like still like in like so far into pre-pro.
Right.
But it was at one point, Sarah J. Maas, the author, Hulu had wanted it. And the showrunner for Outlander, another amazing series, was attached to it. And I love Outlander. I think the showrunner has done a great job with that series. If it was up to me, Sarah J. Maas, call me. If it was up to me, it would either be on Starz, which is what the platform Outlander was on, or it'd be on HBO.
100%.
Because I know they have the budget. It's a fantasy series. I know both of those.
They've done it well.
Yeah, both of those platforms have done fantasy extremely well and continue to do it. They're starting to be so much better, especially HBO, with employing more diverse writers, more women writers, directors. And I really, you know, for me, because it's a series that had like changed my life so much and has impacted me so much. You have to get the look right because all of the book talk girlies are going to be, you know, down your throats if it doesn't look right.
Oh my gosh.
But two, I've seen fantasy shows done well and I've seen fantasy shows done poorly.
Yeah.
And if you don't get the magic right, it's going to look hokey. If you don't get the, you know, all of the critters and the creatures looking right, it's going to look hokey. If you don't get the casting right, it's going to look silly. And that is why either you get the best of the best available or I would like it to never be adapted.
Oh, and yeah, that's true. That's true. It's very risky.
Yeah.
Very risky. Yeah.
I like to say I will only have it adapted if I get to be in charge.
Yeah.
I will run the show and I will do a good job because I know what I want and I know what the girlies want. It's not just for the girlies though. Anyone can read it, but I'm loyal to the girlies.
Nice.
But yeah, so.
All right. I love it. Well, question 3 is what's something within your daily routine that you really cherish?
Ooh, 2 things. One is my, I am in a deep, long romantic relationship with my Nespresso machine.
Yeah.
And we have brought in, a milk frother into the situation.
Have to.
And so my morning double espresso with oat milk is my my piece in the morning. I've recently, a lot of times I like to do it with a Biscoff cookie. Recently though, I love shopping at Home Goods and I love going to their food section because their imported foods is spectacular. Recently we've brought stroopwafel into the mix. Do you know what stroopwafel is?
No.
So they're made in the Netherlands. I believe they're Amsterdam origins. They are these tiny little thin waffles that have like usually caramel like inside.
Oh.
So they're very sticky. But what you do, what I just learned, is you wear
gloves.
You put you put your stroopwafel on top of your coffee cup after you put the coffee in it, and it'll heat it up so it'll be a little more soft and pliable to eat and dunk into your coffee. But I'm also a big biscotti girly. But other than my morning coffee, my weekly Pilates classes. I've just gotten into Pilates. Everyone and their mother has gotten into Pilates. But
how sore are you?
Yeah. Oh, my main instructor, Christy, she is the love of my life. I love her.
Like a devil woman too at the same time.
Oh, I'm like, am I in the military? Although I'm going to be honest, I don't know if the military works those muscles out because the minuscule muscles you didn't know you had in one area of your abdominals, she will have you doing those on pulses for like 3 minutes straight. And you're like, I didn't even know this muscle was inside me. And suddenly I'm being asked to lower and lift it very, very small amounts for a very long time. No, but I love Pilates. I tried weight training, and at this point, honestly, I'm like, when I get a little fitter, maybe I'll go back to weight training. But Pilates gives you a workout. It's really good for your health and longevity. It's good for your posture. I go to like a Pilates franchise. It's called Club Pilates. Shout out Club Pilates. But what I like about it is it's not intimidating. I'm in there with a bunch of soccer moms and grandmas, and it is wonderful. The other day in class, I had 2 women named Nancy sitting next to each other, and I was like, this is the best thing ever, because you don't feel intimidated. If you can see like a 65-year-old woman doing the same things that you're doing, you're like, oh, I don't feel scared.
Are you talking Jeopardy with Nancy's?
You know what? I haven't been invited into the Nancy circle yet.
Oh, all right.
But
all right.
you know, that is achievable one day. But what I love about Pilates is we're all struggling together. Yes. You know, these are all muscles that we're not thinking about in our everyday life.
No one is not struggling in Pilates.
No,
everyone's struggling.
There's this noise that's like popular on TikTok right now. That is like the women who are going to survive the zombie apocalypse are the women who do Pilates. And if you get into like more advanced Pilates, they're like, it's not just the reformer, which is the main machine that you use. I've seen there's this thing called like the Cadillac and the Tower. It looks like a jungle gym, but it also looks like a medieval torture device. And if I remember correctly, Joseph Pilates invented Pilates, like the practice of it, I think when he was a prisoner of war.
Oh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is when he invented it.
Wow.
Like as moves he could do to keep up his strength or something like that, or he invented it for the military. I don't remember which, but what I do know is you do feel like a prisoner of war when you're done. You open the door when you're done, you take off your grippy socks and you're like, oh, I'm free. But it's a great workout. It is so fun. We pump up the jams in there. You know, there's neon lights. Like it's not like it's not like a people screaming at you workout. It is like, it's like being in a ballet class where it's like the instructor sounds like they could be mean, but they're also really nice, but they're also kind of mean, but you kind of like it.
Right.
And it's great. And it's a great workout because like literally half the time I'm laying down.
Yeah.
So like I can do a workout that's actually going to like do something in my body and I'm laying down and I get to put my feet in like these fun little straps and like do leg circles around while I'm laying down. I love it. I love it. I turn off my phone for an hour and it's great.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
The Nespresso and the Pilates.
Nespresso and Pilates. Those are my non-negotiables for the week.
All right. What is something that you're currently trying to improve in your life?
Ooh, like personal or professional?
You could choose both. You could choose one.
Coming to you 2025, AMT is opening an influencer department.
Oh.
Led by me.
Dang.
Yeah. We've already started working on it a little bit, but
fresh off the press right now.
Yeah. I realize the value of influencers and I realize the value of social media. And Julie and I are like, hey, we're going to do this. And she's like, you want to do it? I was like, absolutely, I want to do it. She's like, okay, you're on social media more than I am. You do it. I was like, fantastic. This is great. I love working with brands. I think it's fun. And I follow influencers online, but I was really inspired by this one girl who always talked about her manager. She's an influencer, she's not an actress or anything, but I was like, what is that person doing? What are they doing? I want to see what they're doing. Like my greatest like achievement would be if I could send one, like an AMTer on like a big brand trip with like a really cool brand.
Oh, yeah.
Do like a really cool thing.
So cool. So fun.
Yeah. And like influencers get like, especially in like the beauty space or in like the lifestyle space, you have free stuff. which I think is cool. You know, you get to play with things. And I'm like, I would love to be able to give that to people.
I love that. That's awesome.
So coming to you soon.
Yes.
AMT is going to be opening an experimental influencer department.
Nice. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Maybe I gotta get my followers up so I can get involved. Well, last question then, Kayla. We've gone over a lot. I mean, we've gone over really a lot of cool stuff. So it could be something we've already talked about, or maybe it's something completely new. But if you wanted the listeners to get one thing for sure, what would it be?
Authenticity. Be authentic to yourself, and the bookings will follow in time.
I love the in time on there because
yes,
the patience,
it's not on your time.
Yes,
it is on other people's time. And as long as you are authentic to yourself and you build your own brand, you will find people who want to collaborate with you on that brand.
So good. I love that. Kayla, thank you so much for hanging out. You were fantastic. This is so fun.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching or listening and being here. Make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button so you can catch all of the upcoming episodes. And if you are new, we got a whole year of incredible guests, so be sure to go back. And if you love this episode, send it to a friend. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye.